Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets counterparts from US, Canada, Germany, Argentina and EU Foreign Policy Chief on sidelines of Munich Security Conference in Germany. Discusses situation in West Asia, Ukraine and Indo-Pacific. Also exchanges perspectives on the current global situation. In Pakistan, PMLN and Pakistan People's Party to hold coordination committees meeting today to finalize government formation in centre. Imran Khan's PTI opts to sit in opposition, launches countrywide protest against alleged rigging in the elections. ISRO's naughty boy rocket to launch India's latest weather satellite today. ISRO chairman offers prayers at a temple in Andhra Pradesh ahead of satellite launch from Sriharikota. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met US Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Germany on the sidelines of Munich Security Conference on Friday. The two leaders discussed the situation in West Asia, Ukraine and Indo-Pacific. They also reviewed the continuing progress in India-US bilateral ties. Both the leaders also discussed cooperation on maritime security in the Red Sea and ongoing efforts to secure lasting peace and security in the Middle East. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met several world leaders including his counterparts from Canada, Germany, Argentina. He also met European Union Foreign Policy Chief on the sidelines of conference and discussed issues related to bilateral cooperation and current global situation. The Munich Security Conference is being held in Germany till 18th of February. It offers a unique opportunity for high-level debates on the world's most pressing security challenges. United States Under Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy Elizabeth Mary Allen is expected to visit Mumbai in coming week. She will hold talks focusing on increasing women's participation in the formal economic sector. Liz Allen will also hold discussions with business leaders and expected to participate in panel discussion at the University of Mumbai. Participation in panel discussion will shed light on the dynamic US-India partnership. Liz Allen is on travel to Jordan, Sri Lanka and India from February 12 to 22nd. The visit underscores the United States' unwavering commitment to reinforcing and expanding partnerships and alliances. France and Ukraine signed a bilateral security agreement in Paris on Friday, including pledges from Paris to deliver more arms, train soldiers and send up to 3 billion euros in military aid to Kyiv this year. The French presidency said France has pledged to provide up to 3 billion euros additional military support to Ukraine in 2024. France also pledges to provide more military equipment, in particular for air defense. Speaking alongside his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky at a press conference, Macron said Russia's aggression towards Europe has entered a new phase with increasing levels of disinformation, adding that he will visit Ukraine before mid-March.
In the framework of this agreement, France has pledged to spend up to 3 billion euros in additional military aid for Ukraine in 2024, following 1.7 billion euros in 2020 and 2.1 billion euros in 2023. France also pledged to continue its support to Ukraine in all aspects, providing military equipment, cooperation among defense industries with the development of co-production, training, intelligence, civil aid, etc.
2022 et les 2,1 milliards d'euros.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the deal was ambitious and very substantive.
We have prepared and signed an ambitious, very substantive security agreement, and it is very important that there are very specific agreements with these, our partners. We are all together, and this union of the United States, Europe, France, Germany and the United Kingdom, we need this union to defeat the Russian Federation, which came to us with an unprovoked war.
And Kyiv troops withdrew from Ukraine's southeastern part of Avdiivka to avoid encirclement amid escalating battles on Saturday. The State Border Guard Service of Ukraine released a video showing fierce fighting in Avdiivka. The withdrawal follows months of fierce Russian attacks and marks the biggest change on the front lines since Moscow troops captured Bakhmut in May 2023. Ukraine said the decision provided no strategic advantage for Russia. The commander of Ukraine's southeastern sector, Alexander Tarnavsky, said Ukrainian units pulled back with minor losses. The International Court of Justice on Friday said that it does not see the need for additional emergency measures to protect Palestinians. ICJ declined South Africa's request for urgent measures in the region. The decision comes after South Africa asked the court to consider whether Israel's plan to extend its operation in Gaza into the city of Rafah requires additional emergency measures. And moving on, Israel defense troops continue to operate against Hamas in the Nasser hospital. They uncovered medications with the names of Israeli hostages inside the hospital along with weapons. On receiving a report regarding the failure of electrical systems within the hospital, IDF troops worked to repair the generator while bringing an alternative one. They also supplied food for infants and water to the hospital. And meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has once again reiterated calls for a temporary ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas conflict to allow release of hostages still held by Hamas. The ceasefire calls followed talks between Biden and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this week.
First of all, I've had extensive conversations with the Prime Minister of Israel over the last several days, almost an hour each. And I've made the case, and I feel very strongly about it, that there has to be a temporary ceasefire to get the prisoners out, to get the hostages out. And that is underway. I'm still hopeful that that can be done.
And in a civil fraud case verdict, a New York court has mandated former US President Donald Trump to pay $354 million. Trump's defense plans to challenge the ruling, and the former president contends that it was prompted by political biases. DD India's William Denslow provides more insights from the courthouse in Manhattan.
New York's Attorney General Letitia James was calling for the judge to make Donald Trump pay $370 million in penalties and receive a lifetime ban from operating a business here in the state of New York.
Today, justice has been served. Today, we prove that no one is above the law. No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are, everyone must play by the same rules. We have a responsibility to protect the integrity of the marketplace. And for years, Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
The Attorney General didn't get that, but she got pretty close, with the judge ordering Donald Trump to pay over $350 million, as well as giving Donald Trump a 3-year ban from operating a business here in his hometown state. It wasn't just Donald Trump himself that was penalised by Judge Arthur Engoron. His adult male children also received penalties. They have been ordered, both Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, to both pay $4 million. They are both to receive a 2-year ban from operating a business in New York each. This, of course, comes just a few weeks after a separate judge in a separate case ordered Donald Trump to pay to the tune of $83 million in a case that he was accused of defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll, after a judge had previously said that he was liable for sexual assault as well. So Donald Trump's legal bills are certainly racking up. This announcement comes in a week where a judge has announced that he will face his first criminal trial in the state on March 25th. That in connection to alleged ties that Donald Trump had paid hush money to a porn star in the lead up to the 2016 presidential election. After the judge's verdict was announced this Friday, Donald Trump's team sent out an email to his supporters saying that this was an undeniable election interference and a witch hunt.
These are corrupt people. These are people that shouldn't be allowed to do the things they do. And they're using this as weaponization against a political opponent who's up a lot in the polls and always will be, because I'm competing with a man who can't put two sentences together, who doesn't know what he's doing.
Interestingly, we also heard in the ruling from the judge himself where he said that the lack of remorse from Donald Trump bordered on the pathological. Donald Trump maintains that he has done nothing wrong, and all of the various cases, be it civil or criminal, he denies wrongdoing, saying that they are all examples of election interference and a product of a weaponized justice system. In New York, William Denslow reporting for DD India.
Visit to the United States. India's Chief of the Army Staff General Manoj Pandey visited the Defense Innovation Unit, the forefront military innovation unit of the U.S. Army in San Francisco, and interacted with Doug Beck, Director of Defense Innovation Unit and Senior Advisor to the Secretary of Defense. The Indian Army Chief also visited the California National Guard. The visit by the Army Chief epitomizes shared values and interests that underpin the partnership between India and the United States, aimed at further enhancing bilateral cooperation and development in defense and security domains. Heads of state of the African Union are meeting in Addis Ababa to discuss issues affecting the continent, including security and conflict. The bloc of 55 countries will also review policies and decisions that govern the organizations. DD India's Isabel Nakiria reports.
Member states of the African Union are expected to focus on rising tensions in the Horn of Africa. An agreement for access to the sea between Ethiopia and the breakaway Somaliland is causing tensions with Somalia. The deal gives landlocked Ethiopia access to the Red Sea and allows it to build a military base in Somaliland, which is not recognized internationally as an independent state. Somalia considers Somaliland an integral part of its territory. During a meeting of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, or IGAD, in Kampala in January, member states, including the African Union, the US and EU, reaffirmed their support for Somalia. The escalating insecurity in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and the conflict in Sudan will also be discussed. The conflicts have forced millions of people to move to safety, with huge numbers living in internally displaced people's camps, and the UN calling for billions of dollars in aid. The situation in West Africa will also be addressed, and the AU Commission Chief Moussa Faki this week expressed dismay that Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger have pulled out of the regional body ECOWAS. The AU chief noted that member states need to be united in order to form a stronger bloc to deal with challenges in the region. The meeting will also highlight preparations for the elections of new members of the African Union. Isabel Nakiria, reporting from Kampala for DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party decides to sit in the opposition in Parliament. Bharatiya Janata Party convenes a two-day National Council meeting in India's national capital, New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends the meet. Another feather in India's space odyssey as ISRO to launch INSAT 3DS satellite. Stay tuned for more.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such changemakers.
Watch Changemakers on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Shifting focus to Pakistan. The Pakistan People's Party and Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, or the PMLN Coordination Committee's meeting will be held today to finalize government formation in the centre after it got postponed on Friday, according to media reports. The meeting was postponed as the PMLN's committee has yet to consult on the matter with the party's senior leadership. The meeting will provide more clarity on the coalition's power sharing formula. Earlier, the scheduled meeting between the two major parties could not take place on Thursday as both sides sought more time to assess proposals that came up in their first meeting. The PPP has assured PMLN of its support in the formation of a government as well as the election of the next Prime Minister on the condition of PMLN's support in elections to key constitutional offices. And staying with Pakistan, following the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf announcement to protest demonstration in the capital, the Islamabad Deputy Commissioner refused to grant permission to hold protests on Saturday. According to media reports, the administration rejected the PTI's application, maintaining that demonstration cannot be allowed given Section 144 of the Criminal Procedure Code, which is in force in the capital city. And meanwhile, the PTI on Friday announced that it will sit in opposition in the centre and Punjab as the political parties make efforts to finalize the process of government formation in Pakistan and provinces after the general elections. The decision has been taken as per directives issued by PTI founder Imran Khan, who remains incarcerated in Rawalpindi's Adiala jail. PTI leaders also rejected reports of Imran Khan softening his stance and agreeing to hold talks with Bilawal Bhutto's Pakistan's People Party. Jailed former Thailand Premier Thaksin Shinawatra will be released on Sunday. Thaksin has been in hospital detention since August after making a dramatic homecoming from living abroad for 15 years in self-exile to avoid prison for a conflict of interest. He had his 8-year jail term commuted to a year by the king after his return and has served 6 months in hospital detention due to an undisclosed health condition. According to reports, a former policeman and telecoms magnate who has been at the center of the tumultuous 2-decade battle for power in Thailand, Thaksin was on a list of 930 prisoners who were considered elderly or ill and approved for parole. It was until now not certain when he would be freed. February 18 is the first day of his parole eligibility. India's ruling party, Bharatiya Janata Party, is convening a 2-day National Council meeting in the national capital, New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends the meet at Bharat Mandapam. Prime Minister Modi also visited the exhibition on the Vikasit Bharat Abhiyan. BJP National President JP Nadda, Union Minister Amit Shah and other senior leaders are attending the meet, with the participation of more than 11,500 delegates. The gathering will witness the adoption of resolutions reflecting on the 10 years of Modi's government, along with discussions on the approaching elections. Indian Space Research Organization's chief S. Somnath offered prayers at Chengalamma Parmeshwari Temple in India's Andhra Pradesh ahead of the launch of meteorological satellite INSAT 3DS. The chief said the satellite will help attain more accurate and informative weather forecasts by studying the surface of ocean and will be able to provide natural disaster warnings.
It's meant for our weather climate studies. It's a meteorological satellite. I think you know the cyclones we track using the satellite. We predict weather for the country, looking at the rainfall, the cloud cover and many other parameters we measure. This satellite is built for our Ministry of Earth Science, specifically the Indian Meteorological Department. They do all the data analysis and provide you the weather forecast and all the protection of our natural resources. So we are launching it. This is the third satellite in the series. INSAT 3D and 3D are already there in space. So this is the third satellite, INSAT 3DS.
The launch of the GSLV-F14 INSAT 3DS mission is set for today at 17:35 hours IST from Sriharikota. The GSLV mission aims at deploying the INSAT 3DS meteorological satellite into the geosynchronous transfer orbit. The satellite's primary objectives are multifaceted and crucial for environmental monitoring and safety. It is equipped to monitor Earth's surface and carry out oceanic observations in various spectral channels that are vital for meteorological analysis. Let's take a look at our special report.
ISRO'S 16th GSLV mission on Saturday is aimed at providing the vertical profile of various meteorological parameters of the atmosphere, provide the data collection and data dissemination capabilities from the data collection platforms, and also boast satellite-aided search and rescue services. This geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle, GSLV, is a three-stage 51.7-meter-long launch vehicle having a lift-off mass of 420 tons. The first stage, GS1, comprises a solid propellant S139 motor having 139-ton propellant and 4 earth-storable propellant stages L40 strap-ons, which carry 40 tons of liquid propellant in each. The second stage, GS2, is also an earth-storable propellant stage loaded with 40-ton propellant. The third stage, GS3, is a cryogenic stage with a 15-ton propellant loading of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. GSLV-F14 INSAT 3DS mission is funded by the Ministry of Earth Sciences. It is designed for enhanced meteorological observations and monitoring of land and ocean surfaces for weather forecasting and disaster warning. The satellite will augment the meteorological services along with the presently operational INSAT 3D and INSAT 3DR satellites. Indian industries have significantly contributed to the making of the satellite. INSAT 3DS satellite is a follow-on mission of third-generation meteorological satellite from geostationary orbit. Various departments of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, such as the Indian Meteorology Department, National Centre for Medium-Range Weather Forecasting, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, National Institute of Ocean Technology, Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Services, and various other agencies and institutes will be using the INSAT 3DS satellite data to provide improved weather forecast. Aisha Khanam reports for DD India.
All right, and let's take a look at other stories making news today. India's Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal virtually appeared before Rouse Avenue Court in the matter of the Enforcement Directorate's recent complaint against him in the excise policy case. The court has fixed March 16 for the physical appearance of Arvind Kejriwal. The next round of talks between the Indian government and the protesting farm leaders will take place on Sunday. India's Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said that discussions so far have been very productive. Punjab Chief Minister said that the talks were held in a cordial atmosphere and he is hopeful of finding a solution to end the deadlock. India's Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah presented the state budget at the Assembly on Friday. The Siddaramaiah government allocated Rs 100 crore for Waqf properties, Rs 200 crore for Christian community and Rs 20 crore for pilgrimage sites. The opposition partly staged a walkout when Siddaramaiah was presenting the budget, saying it had nothing for farmers and other communities of the state. 8 wagons of goods train derailed near Patel Nagar Dayabasti section in India's Delhi. The incident occurred near the Zakhira flyover. Further investigation is underway. Sports update now. India staged a remarkable comeback on day 3 of the third test match against England in western city of Rajkot. India bowled out England for 319 runs after they resumed their proceedings at 207 for 2 on day 3. Jasprit Bumrah removed Root for 18 while Kuldeep Yadav removed Johnny Bairstow for duck and Duckett for 153. Mohammad Siraj then removed the tail-enders as he returned with a 4-wicket haul. India started their second innings on positive note but lost Rohit Sharma on score of 19 runs. India stretched lead to 170 runs till tea. Earlier on day 2, England bowled out India on 445 runs in their first innings. An Indian off-spinner Ravichandran Ashwin withdrew from Rajkot Test due to a family medical emergency after the end of day 2. Ashwin rushed back to Chennai from Rajkot to be with his ailing mother. Ashwin had a wonderful day with both bat and ball in Rajkot on day 2 of the third test. Coming into bat after India lost 2 wickets early on, he stitched together a calculated 77-run partnership with Dhruv Jurel to ensure India went past the 400-run mark. Earlier, Ashwin became the second Indian bowler after Anil Kumble to claim 500 test wickets. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the global south with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
The one common theme between all major cities across the world is hope and the promise of new opportunities and possibilities that gravitates people towards them.
The reason why we advocate green transformations is because you can retain the building and you can actually modify.
There's a lot that happens when you extract sand beyond sustainable limits. It's going to change your course of your river, it's going to widen the channel, it's going to damage, and we are paying a big price.
We have 2 water reservoirs on 84 acres of land. During periods when the river water is non-saline, we store water in these reservoirs. Throughout the year, we distribute this water to residents.
Tiny houses are in vogue. Less is more. Many also assume tiny homes are more eco-friendly.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.